Hi guys, welcome to the channel. In this recording, I'll be doing a review of Boruto chapter 48, which is called The Time Limit. Again, in this chapter, I'll be talking about two things intermittently, which is the first one being the continuation between Kashin Koji versus Isshiki Otsutsuki, and another one being Amado lashing out information in Konoha. So without further ado, I'll just start the discussions from page 1. So page 1 is the continuation between Kashin Koji and Isshiki. As we've seen in the last chapter, we've seen that Kashin Koji and Isshiki's battle reached its climax, and Isshiki was forced to revive himself in Jigen's body, which is not strong enough to handle the power of Isshiki Otsutsuki. Now, as the fight continues in this chapter, we've seen Jiraiya, the clone of Jiraiya, Kashin Koji, doing a lot of fire jutsus around the scene, and I think that whole scene is full of the fire jutsu, which is one of Jiraiya's favorite jutsus. But Isshiki is able to instantly shrink that fire, and which resulted in Jiraiya moving to the art of the raging lion main jutsu, which is using his hair to grab his opponent. And this is like very exciting to see, because we've seen this kind of jutsus being used against pain, and we've seen how effective it is against stronger opponents. Also, we've seen how it was used against Conan in the beginning of, just before the beginning of Pain versus Jiraiya, and all these jutsus are proving to be useless against Isshiki Otsutsuki. Isshiki Otsutsuki just shrink himself, and the next thing we see Isshiki Otsutsuki sitting on Jiraiya or Kashin Koji's shoulder, and in a small size, and he's just chilling right there, and it's unbelievable, and showing the difference in strength, like the power level, the difference in their power level. You can sort of see that Isshiki Otsutsuki is way more powerful than Kashin Koji, or if you like, you can call it than Jiraiya. And at any moment, it's clear that Isshiki can just defeat Jiraiya. But as the fight goes on, you sort of see that Isshiki would love to have Jiraiya on his side, or would love to have Kashin Koji on his side, and he's trying to show him that he's merely just a tool which is being used in the shinobi world. Is merely just a tool which is being used, which cannot amount to anything that will defeat an Otsutsuki. And he's showing that in so many ways that Amado understood this very well, and the fact that you being sent to me, you've already fulfilled your purpose. And he's trying to show Kashin Koji that, look, Amado was fooling you. You are incapable of defeating me. And so as a result, it means that you were betrayed as well in the process, and you've been used as a tool. And that's what Isshiki is trying to convince Kashin Koji about, and this is what is exciting to see. And in my own opinion, I think that Isshiki is trying to get Kashin Koji to be on his side, which I don't think it's working very well, because Kashin Koji is the kind of a person who cannot give up on their mission, just like Jiraiya couldn't give up on his mission when he confronted Pain, and that's why he ended up dying in those episodes in Naruto Shippuden. And we sort of see the same way of doing things and the same way of thinking in this chapter being displayed by Kodashi, and which is quite exciting to see. And as this goes on, Isshiki says, okay, if this is the case, if you're persisting in trying to win or trying to fight me, I will show you the difference in our power. And on the other hand, where we see Amada and inside Hokage's office, and busy talking with the Konoha shinobis present in that office, we sort of see that Naruto wants to go and join Kashin Koji's battle, thinking that there will be a greater chance for them to finally defeat Isshiki Otsutsuki if they could join forces with Kashin Koji. But Amado is against the idea that they should go and assist Kashin Koji, and I'll get back to that point in a moment. And before I continue with that point, I wanted to then say that the collar that was put on Shikidai's neck, which is Shikimaru's son, in the beginning, or when Amada came to Konoha as a backup thing for him to stay alive, was just practically just a decoration, and that's what's being said in this chapter, and which like you can sort of see that this whole thing and this whole setup was too perfect and by Amado, and you know, it's frustrating Shikimaru in the process. He's like, I've never seen him this frustrated that they're being played by Amado in this fashion. But at the same time, it's clear that this setup, not only will it benefit Amado, but I think it will also benefit Konoha, and I think that's one thing that's going to make Shikimaru feel better. And as we go on, going back to the point that I just left earlier, Amada, who's just there, who had advised that going to join Kashin Koji in the battle between him and Isshiki Otsutsuki would be a waste, because at this present moment, Isshiki Otsutsuki only has few days to leave, which is about 2 or 3 days to leave. So in order for him to stay alive, he needs to find Kawaki and implant the Kama seal to enable him to revive in Kawaki's body. So therefore, there's no need for them to go to an environment where Kashin Koji is fighting with Isshiki. And Amado says there's no other way that Isshiki is not going to come to the village. In fact, what needs to happen is that the village needs to prepare for an invasion of Isshiki Otsutsuki, because Isshiki is going to teleport from where he is, and he was going to come to the village to try and take Kawaki away, or to try and take and find a way in which he can revive in Kawaki. Whichever way, I don't know how he's going to do it, but he's going to come to the village for Kawaki. And that's the main point that Amada is trying to show these guys in Konoha, that they need to prepare for an all-out war or with Isshiki for Kawaki. Now, while they are at it, the best thing that was said is that all the villagers need to evacuate so that they can be safe, because the incoming opponent is stronger than any other opponent that both Sasuke and Naruto have ever faced. Because it is clear, well, the reason why I say this is because from the beginning and throughout these chapters that we've seen that came out in Boruto, we've been thinking and we've been saying that both Sasuke and Naruto were nerfed. But it turns out that Isshiki is just a formidable opponent who's stronger, and not that they're nerfed, but I think Isshiki is stronger than any other Otsutsuki that we've ever seen so far. And that's why I think these guys were not nerfed. It's just that the opponent is stronger than any other opponent that they've ever faced. And it was not easy to believe at first, but as time goes on, you sort of see that this is the reality of the situation that they're confronted with, and it's important that these guys prepare. And Uchiha Sasuke is also prepared to go against Isshiki Otsutsuki, knowing that he's stronger than Jigen, whom they faced, whom had orated both him and Naruto, and this is what they're confronted with. So, having said that, I'm just wondering who else is going to help once Jigen arrives, or once Isshiki in this case arrives at Konoha. Who's going to be available? What other shinobis are going to be there to come and help? And moving back to the fight between Kashin Koji and Isshiki Otsutsuki, we sort of see that Kashin Koji has resorted to the Sage Mode, which has then proven to be nothing against Isshiki, and Isshiki is recognizing that this is Sage Mode, and still, even in Sage Mode, with just a single or with just two moves, Kashin Koji was pinned on the floor using the pillars, and that Sage Mode proving to be useless against Isshiki's powerful presence in that moment. And another thing that we can recognize is that, or another thing that Jiraiya had recognized, is that the Sukuna Kona Jutsu, which is being displayed by Isshiki Otsutsuki, it's an ocular jutsu. And now, thinking that this is an ocular jutsu, it sort of reminds me of Obito Otsutsuki, and also its abilities to shrink objects into smaller size and store them in a dimension of his own where time doesn't move. And that's what is being said out here, that its ability to store things like small objects which are stored in a dimension where time doesn't move. And this seems to be his own dimension, just like what Obito had, his Kamoi Mangekyu Sharingan ability, which would enable him to move from dimension to another dimension, from his own dimension to other dimensions, or move from different spaces to other spaces. And this is sort of like similar style of fighting. But in this case, with Isshiki, there's a dimension where he stores his objects and he can easily retrieve stuff. And I think Obito also did something like that in the Ninja War, where he would store ninja tools in his dimension and he would easily retrieve them while he was fighting. And this is a similar thing that we see here with Isshiki's dojutsu. But having said that, I think the Otsutsuki dojutsus are similar to the Uchiha dojutsus. In any case, in any time you can see that the splitting resemblance in the use of jutsus from the Otsutsukis and the Uchihas. But in this case, I also do think that the Uchiha Mangekyu Sharingan abilities were much more cooler than what we are seeing here. But without a doubt, it's important to note that these jutsus are similar, and they work in a similar way, and it is without a doubt that the Uchiha are descendants of the Otsutsukis. And you sort of see, even in the fighting style, in the manner in which these dojutsus are being used in this case. And now, while Isshiki had defeated Jiraiya or Kashin Koji, and immediately Isshiki would talk about how weak Jiraiya is, and would also tell him that in his betrayal between him and Amada, it will result in Amada being destroyed by him, and also we sort of see that while they're speaking, Jiraiya was asked to say his last words. And while he was asked to say his last words, I think he summoned a toad. While the toad was summoned, it just swallowed him and disappeared. And also surprised to see that this is the last resort that Isshiki was just surprised that this is the last resort that Jiraiya would go to. And looking at it, Isshiki is just doesn't care what Jiraiya does from that point. All he cares about is finding Kawaki and trying to revive himself in Kawaki. So moving back to Konoha, we sort of see that Okage Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke are preparing for a battle which could lead to their death. And it's something that these guys are preparing for, and we see that Uchiha Sasuke asking Boruto if he's ready to die for the village, and I can see Boruto's being surprised in this drawing. And while they are at it, a report comes that Isshiki had already teleported to Konoha. He's above the sky, and that last picture right there, it resembles what the picture of Pain invading Konoha, and it brings back so many memories, so much more memories from that time, from back then when Pain invaded Konoha. Those were some of the climax of the Naruto Shippuden that one would always remember and maybe cherish those kind of moments at the time. And we see this happening again here with Isshiki Otsutsuki invading Konoha, and now this is gonna be the beginning of something exciting. And I think Naruto being surprised that he's here so fast, and by the looks of things, it looks like people were not evacuated, and I foresee that there will be a lot of casualties around here if Isshiki could decide to just use a massive jutsu like what Pain did, using a massive jutsu on the village. And obviously Naruto is going to try and protect the village, and that's going to exhaust a lot of his chakra. But at the same time, I think what would be exciting is that for this guy to come to Konoha and invade Konoha just like this, are we going to which of the current shinobis that are living in Konoha are going to come and assist Sasuke and Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto in the battle against this guy? Or are we going to see Kakashi Sensei? Are we going to see Rock Lee? Are we likely to see the 8th gate of death again? Who else can go against this Otsutsuki? Maybe Tsunade can come into play as well. I don't know, but it looks like for this guy to invade Konoha, there's a lot of possibilities in bringing exciting fights to us, and that's what's exciting about this chapter. There's a lot that can happen from here. There's a lot that the story can continue to, and this is why it's very important to be watching or to be following the Boruto manga at this point in time. And I think it is one of the best mangas out there in the world right now, and it's exciting to see. And I think I should leave it at that for now, and we shall talk later. Thank you very much for staying. Please hit the subscribe button and press the like button on the video, and I shall see you next time.